Hello, welcome to the Silent Night podcast, but also welcome to Quarry Park in Mandurah, Western Australia.
Whoop whoop. Under a big sky that's blue in colour, no clouds, surrounded by trees and grass and rock and crickets making noises.
Something's making noises. Butterflies. Last time we were here, there was a bobtail lizard running around, so we're hoping to see another one of those. If you haven't seen one, Google it. They're funny little things.
It wasn't just one.
No, it's true.
We followed it. Did we see 3 or 4?
Yeah,
Plus a baby
and a couple of adults.
Bobtails.
I'm just going to take my hat off. I left it on. We just took some photos for the artwork.
With our Aussie hats.
And I've left my hat on. Hang on. Okay, hat's off.
When we arrived, our hosts had generously gifted us some headwear, which includes the hat that I'm wearing, which is... we're unaware of the Australian joke, but it's quite notorious, would you say, this brand?
Seems to be, yeah.
Bush Chuck.
Yeah.
So that's based on a beer, is it called Emu Export?
Yes.
And
I think emus, they're called emus, bush chucks?
Something like that. You're going to see me wafting lots of flies around.
There's lots of flies, yeah, you can see your mic going everywhere.
Okay, you're going to see me wafting flies. I'm covered in insect repellent.
Chris isn't one for the bites. He's had quite a few bites, so he's extra sensitive at the moment to flying things.
So I'm covered in repellent, but I'm wearing my Bush Chuck hat, which is very funny. It's reversible, so the side, there's a black side with just a little bit of branding, or there's a very colourful Bush Chuck. So yeah, Bush Chuck.
Bush Chuck, yeah. So yeah, check out the photo to see that. And I've got on, not the hat I was gifted. When I arrived, I had a blue cap, which I've been wearing with a bin chicken on the front, and you might have heard us in the last episode talking about bin chickens. They're actually ibis. Is that the bird?
Yeah, they are
white birds with this big long black beak. Apparently they're known for going around bins. We haven't seen one anywhere near a bin yet, but we have seen quite a lot of them. So that was my hat. But then we also purchased a bigger, proper Australian hat where you get lots of shade all the way around, and I'm wearing that one today.
And that thing underneath like a chin strap?
Yeah, that holds it on, which we've worked out is very useful. Yeah, because when it's windy, you just lose those things instantly. So I can see why they've got those very handy. Yeah, so we thought today we would come along to one of the local parks near where we're staying and record some stuff for you, because it's probably been the first opportunity we've really had, or felt we could record some stuff. And when we asked in the last episode for feedback on whether you'd want to hear from us, we had some lovely responses from people saying yes. Basically, everyone's very kind, saying if you can, we'd love to hear it, but don't worry about it. But people wanted to hear about the travel tips, and not travel tips, the travel stuff that we've been doing and experiencing. We don't have any travel tips. So yeah, here we are. We thought we'd come and we'd feedback on how things have gone so far. So we flew to Singapore on the 15th of October. We had a week there, a couple of nights in a hotel, and then we stayed with Chris's brother and his wife and our 2 nieces, and we experienced Singapore for the first time. What's your takeaway from Singapore?
Well, before we get to Singapore, how nice the flight was with Mel, with our
that's true.
Our
we had a
friend.
lovely flight to Singapore. That's true. We had, I know some of you know that, we're Christians, we pray about stuff. And one of the things I've been praying about was the person that I'd end up sitting next to on the plane, because it's a 14-hour flight, and there's some people you do and don't want to be sat next to, and I was like, please let it be somebody really lovely that we can bless on the way, and that maybe they can bless us. It'll just be a nice interaction. And she was the nicest person we could have got. In fact, if you're listening to this, Mel, because she said she might listen, then thank you so much. We've exchanged messages on Instagram, and it was a lovely flight. It was lovely to chat to her. She's got parents in Singapore, so she gave us some tips on things to do. We were able to chat about life in the UK. It was really lovely. So that was really cool.
She gave us some great tips about Singapore. In fact, in 13 hours in a flight with Mel, we had more travel tips than the 2 of us could piece together. From all the online research.
Definitely, yeah.
So Singapore, no doubt. I guess those that live there or have been there lots are probably sick of this being a talking point. But no doubt the standout for me was just the sweatiness.
The heat, oh my word.
The humidity, just the hot sweat, the desire to get into air conditioning. I can tolerate it. I don't get too distressed with physical discomfort too much. So I can tolerate it to a point, but there were times where I was like, I could really do with just getting away from this sticky sweatiness now.
Yeah, I think when we first arrived in it, we'd heard some really stories of people saying, it's unbearable. And we were like, what's it going to be like? But when we got there, I thought, I haven't not experienced this before. It was like that when we were in Las Vegas. We've experienced it in Turkey. We have experienced that kind of heat. But what's so fascinating about it is it just seems to be relentless pretty much all year. And I think that's the thing that is just hard to believe and take on. And after a while, you do get to a point of like, yeah, I'm ready to be in a different country with some fresher air or some dry heat.
You get used to it. I'm sure those that live there, my brother John and his wife Sarah and their 2 girls have chosen to live there for 2 years for an experience which they're absolutely loving. And so we got to experience a bit of life with them while the girls were on their holidays from school. And so we did a little bit of sightseeing, didn't we, in the city. And also, for us, I think we love wildlife and nature. And so going out to some of the parks and just enjoying the wildlife, from macaque monkeys in the wild to lizards, those what are they called, water monitors?
Water monitor lizards?
In various sizes. One huge one in that park we went to on the water opposite Malaysia. The water, I think it was called the Doha Strait between Malaysia and Singapore. We went to a park there which was fascinating, and if the tide had been out, you'd seen a lot more crocodiles. We did see a couple of crocodiles, but you'd have seen far more if the tide was out. We were there and the tide was in. A very big fish eagle, was it, or sea eagle flying over? So yeah, we loved the wildlife of Singapore.
Although, interestingly, we were told that most of their birds are just kind of black. There's not a lot of colour in any of their birds there, which seems really strange to me. I don't know if that's actually true, but we didn't see any. Everything we saw, even if it was quite pretty, was quite dark in colour.
No, John and Sarah, who live there, have had more encounters with hornbills, quite rare thing to see.
Oh yeah, they were there. Yeah, that's true.
And cobras, nasty, big snakes. So I think they've glimpsed a couple of cobras. So yeah, we didn't have that sort of run-in, thankfully.
No.
But still, I think it's just surreal. We've spent a lot of time in wildlife parks in the UK and zoos, where it's all managed environments and enclosures. But to be in the wild, seeing monkeys, it took me a while. I just found it surreal.
It's like you're in some kind of zoo.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like this is the actual just natural world. And then on the other side of it, when we first got there, we did a lot of the Marina Sands Bay, that area. And we went around there. I think we did didn't you count 22,000 steps or something just walking around? And that was hot. But we wanted to see there's a famous hotel in Singapore which is called the Marina Bay Sands, and it's got 3 sort of pillars and then what looks like a ship on the top of it. Very odd sort of design, but really stands out. And a lot of people have given us tips on how to go to the top or part way up to see the view. And in the end, when we got there, we were just like, suck it, we'll just go up and pay the money, go right to the top, pay for the viewing platform and see. It was a lovely day, and see the view without any kind of glass in the way and everything. So we did that, and that was pretty amazing. So we got some lovely views over Singapore. We saw them packing away the F1 stuff because that had been the weekend before the Grand Prix. And that was great. Just a very different side from the wildlife, just how they build things and how clean everything is and well organised. And that was really cool, just exploring. But again, just so difficult to do in the heat. You're kind of when you've got periods of time where there's no shade, you're kind of rushing to the next bit of shade, and you're just constantly sweaty, which, if like me, when you're not really good with physical discomfort, it's not the best environment. But I did kind of get used to it a bit. You just have to have the right clothes. It's about that with every bit of weather, isn't it? If you've got the right gear, it's not quite as bad. Oh, kookaburras just landed near us. That's so cool. I'm just going to get my phone.
Wow, that's nice. In the park where we are, so about 20 metres away, a kookaburra's just landed on the grass and is plucking what looks like worms. Okay, Claire's put the mic down to become nature photographer, and it's now just flown into a tree. They're large birds, aren't they? They're almost like the size of the British duck.
These are definitely my favourite birds so far, I think, because they're so friendly looking. They look like a stuffed toy. They're just like, everything about them just says, I would be great to cuddle.
Yeah,
you don't get that with other birds,
aren't they? Very thick necks.
Yeah, the whole
thick
thing
heads,
is just fluffy looking and friendly.
Big beak, and they eat meat.
Yeah, that seems weird.
Oh, it's coming back towards us. Oh, it's even closer now. It's about 15 metres away. It's just grabbed a worm.
I'll put this video on our social media.
And now it's going to take off back into the tree. Yeah, definitely the size of a duck. and now it's back in the tree.
Oh, they are cool though.
Wow, great birds.
Ah, dear. I'd love... Oh, look! It's a bobtail lizard
Oh, yes.
going on the grass. This place is amazing.
There is a bobtail wandering around the grass
Yeah, so
down there.
bobtails are about... It can be about a foot long, maybe? Quite fat, stocky. Again, one of the more friendly-looking lizards. Not much of a tail, hence the name.
You need to walk and talk and go and take a photo of it.
Okay.
Let's wander down
I'm going to leave my handbag there.
while we're talking.
I think Australia's safe enough.
Because this is like an insight into... Because with these microphones, we can walk and talk.
We can walk and talk. And I'll post these videos probably on the Instagram story. You'll have to catch them quite quickly because they might vanish. I'm having to walk down a separate set of steps because my legs aren't as long. Now, we did hear that someone got bitten by one of these. I really don't know what you'd have to do for this thing to bite you. It seems too friendly. And it mainly runs away from you, but it doesn't look scary. Sunning his tail. Oh, the kookaburras back on the grass.
Yeah, there we go. We should do a nature podcast.
We should. Well, I'm sure this is really interesting to listen to when we're just walking around looking at it and everyone's just listening to audio.
101 different types of wildlife found in Western Australia.
Okay, back to our bit in the shade. We found a step in the park that's nicely shaded.
Kookaburras quite content in the tree.
Yeah, he's happily...
Must have good eyesight to be bobbing down like that onto the grass to find worms and then back into the tree.
Anyway.
Nice little interlude.
Yeah, back to Singapore. So yeah, we saw a lot of Singapore from the city side of things right through to the wildlife. Definitely.
Big highlight was the food.
Food, we did love the food. It was the first time we'd been in a country
like an East Asian
where the food
country.
was majority sort of East Asian, which is, noodles and rice and chicken and soy sauce, all the good stuff. And definitely enjoying that. I think I could be very healthy on a diet of what they eat.
For the first time I think ever you had a few breakfasts that consisted of noodles and rice.
Yeah.
That you were really quite happy with.
Yeah, definitely. I
a
think
lot more so than the sweet stuff.
Savoury goes down a lot better for me than the sweet. I mean, I love the idea of pancakes and waffles and all that, but actually the noodles were good.
If you've heard anything about Singapore or enjoyed spending time there yourself, you might be aware of the hawker centres. They're quite a big deal with eating. Quite rough around the edges, would you say? Off the beaten track in a sense, but really local and great value for food and really good food as well. And there's certainly some popular hawker centres where tourists will go to, but yeah, the locals will enjoy eating there more than the sort of the Westerners.
Yeah, and it's pretty reasonably priced. I mean, Singapore as a whole is known as being quite expensive, but actually eating those sorts of meals, I thought they were quite reasonable.
Yeah.
Very, very healthy, very fresh, hot, well cooked.
Yeah, I find Australia to be more expensive than Singapore in parts, but I guess we'll come on to that.
Yeah.
Any other highlights from Singapore? I think just experiencing it really. We've got another couple of nights there on the way home in 4 weeks' time.
Yep. It's interesting to be in a country with so many rules. That's the other thing I'd say. They've got they're very strict on... So it's known as a very safe country. You can just leave stuff anywhere and it won't get nicked. And the reason is because their penalties are so harsh. So fines of thousands of dollars or time in prison just for doing things like walking across the road at the wrong place, like jaywalking, or one of the weirdest ones was being naked. Like, if you're caught, even in your own home, but if someone sees you from outside, if you're seen by sort of the public, as it were, you can be fined for that. Chewing gum, not allowed to have chewing gum, not allowed to chew gum. Got all these different kinds of things. It's quite a strict country in many ways.
I carry chewing gum with me quite often, certainly on trips and holidays, days out, that sort of stuff. And you were treating my little can of chewing gum while we were there, my little plastic tub. You were treating it like it was some sort of Class A drug. Like, don't put it away, don't take it out, don't take it out.
Well, Mel told us, that was one of the tips from Mel, wasn't it? No, don't chew gum.
Okay, it's not a Class A drug.
No,
I wasn't chewing it, it was just carrying it on my person.
But because of that, it seems to be quite well run. Like, the public transport is amazing, very clean, very quick, very efficient, very cheap. Just interesting to be a country that's run very differently from ours. So, yeah, it's good.
Score out of 10? Top trumps rating for Singapore?
For Singapore? Oh, that's difficult. Every country's so different. I don't know how you would... What would you say?
Oh, I'd give it a 7.
7, okay. Yeah, that's probably fair. I was thinking 8, but I thought that does seem very high, and the weather does knock it down a bit for me. One of the things I would say is it's not somewhere I went and thought I want to live here. Some countries I've come away thinking I could live there. It wasn't one of those.
Was that mostly because of the
largely
sweating?
because of the weather. Would have loved to for the food. But yeah, the weather, I just think, for me, is a little intense. I'd need that to cool off every now and then. So, yeah, okay. 7 out of 10 for Singapore.
Then back on a plane for a 5-hour flight to Perth.
Yep.
From Changi. Oh, Changi Airport, that was impressive, wasn't it?
Yes, there's a butterfly garden in our terminal that was just free to go in and wander around. And when we went in, it was really warm. Like, you know, when you walk into butterfly tropical houses at the zoos and stuff, they're really warm. So we walked in, we're like, oh, it's one of those warm places again. We like, you know, a bit fed up being warm. But anyway, all these amazing butterflies. And then we realised it wasn't a warm
There was a smell of jet
greenhouse.
fuel, wasn't there?
It was just outdoors. They'd encased in like a sort of a netting cage this area for the butterflies, but it was just the outdoor air that we were stood in. It wasn't heated at all, so that gave you an idea of the kind of temperature you're kind of walking around in.
But very nice airport. We'd heard very good things about the airport, and we haven't seen it yet, but apparently the waterfall, there's a water feature that's the highest indoor waterfall in the world. In the arrivals or departures or one of the terminals. So we've not seen that as yet, but we'll make a thing of that and spend a bit of time. Some people were saying it's like a destination to go, even just to do shopping or for a trip out. You'd go to the airport.
Their airport, from what I can make out, is kind of open, so you don't go through security until you get to your gate. So in our country, you go through security first, pretty much, and then you're stuck in this big departures lounge where you can't get out of again until you go to your gate, and then you just get on the plane. Whereas in Singapore, you go into the airport and you don't do security until you actually get to the gate to get on the plane. So people can wander in and out, so it is a place you can just go to and look around. You don't have to be flying anywhere. So I think that's why they've made it into such a kind of destination.
Okay, so that's the airport. Then we arrived in Perth, and now we've had 2.5 weeks? 3.5 weeks?
23rd we flew of October, so yeah, I don't know exactly.
In Western Australia, mostly based. We've not been into Perth as yet in terms of the city. We've been south, about an hour south of Perth, in a city called Mandurah.
2 weeks, 3 days.
2 weeks, 3 days. Yeah. And since then we've experienced British weather. Yeah,
we've had some proper rainy days, we've had some windy days, we've had some grey days, we've had some sunny days.
It's definitely hotting up now, so I think the forecast ahead in this part is up in the early 30s, heading that way this week. So it's hotting up, and we've spent a lot of time just chilling out and spending a lot of time with our host, with Dave and Trace. Big shout out to Dave and Trace for their generous hospitality, looking out for us and looking after us. So we spent a lot of time with them. We've had a few trips out, a few day trips, a few mornings or afternoons out. And then we're just back a few days ago from a bigger trip, which was south into a famous part of Western Australia
called Margaret River. And there we were we went and did quite a few things, didn't we? We started off by, we were staying in an area called Narrabeen.
Yeah, spelled with a G.
Narrabeen Beach, spelled with a G. So Gnarabeen almost. I don't know what the silent G thing is. A bit like Nat and...
That's true.
I was going to say GNU.
GNU.
But you pronounce the G for GNU.
Don't hear of GNUs anymore, do you?
It's not new, is it? It's GNU.
Is it GNU a wildebeest?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so Nat is my only example then. So, it's a bit like Nat, Gnarabeen, but it's Narrabeen Beach. And there's a lovely beach there. And then just down the coast from that is Surfers Point, which we were quite keen on. Anyone who's followed us for a while will know that we have been out to Nazaré in Portugal a couple of times to go and try and see the big waves and the big wave surfers out there. So we love watching people surf. We don't surf ourselves. We have no experience in surfing, but we do love other people doing it. So we went to Surfers Point, saw some people surfing out there. It was a very windy day, so that produced a few waves. And then we went to Hamlin Bay, which is famous for stingrays coming up to the beach and feeding. We did not see any stingrays. The weather was, again, quite windy. Everything was a bit churned up, so we didn't see it. But we did, for the first time, go in the Australian Sea.
Yeah, the Indian Ocean.
We wore rash vests,
Rashes?
Which we've bought since we got here. We were the only people wearing them. Everyone else was in bikinis and swimwear, so I don't know if we look more like locals or tourists, but we had on our full long sleeve rash vests. And yeah, we went in the sea, and then we were just sort of enjoying that. It was not warm. We thought the sea might be warm. It wasn't. It was freezing. And as myself, Chris and Dave were trying to work out how to take a photo of ourselves while we were waist deep in the water, Dave just happened to utter, "Watch out!"
He didn't even get out.
I don't even think he got it out, no. And as we turned round, there was a wave just behind the three of us that was, I mean, I couldn't see the top of it. I could just see, I'd see it went up to the top of your head. And it just wiped all three of us out. We just went, I felt like I was in a washing, everything went a bit slowly in a washing machine. I remember thinking to myself, I don't know which way's up. Thank goodness it was shallow.
Did your life flash before your eyes?
Yeah, well, this is it. So, yeah, that was fun, and nobody saw it, and no one got a video of it, which is really disappointing because we'd love to have seen what it looked like, all three of us just getting completely bowled over.
I'd been using a new bit of technology to record video, and I'd been recording bits of video in the sea before then. I was so disappointed that I wasn't recording that.
Yeah, that would have been brilliant.
Because it would have captured the drama of what felt like a close call with death. I can remember that. I can still feel the slap on the back of my head from this wall of water.
Yeah, I think my head touched the floor. I can't remember. I did bash my ankle on something, but yeah, I wasn't planning on going under, getting my hair wet or my face wet or any of that stuff, and that all went out the window. Had a full nasal rinse of seawater, so it was an experience. That was our first experience in the Australian sea.
There'll be some people that will be appalled with us for going to that area and having no interest in wine. Because it's a hugely popular area for wine lovers, of which we are not. So loads of vineyards, loads of big name wineries that I'm told export. So in the UK, Australian wine, much of it will have come from this Margaret River area. So we drove past lots of that. We did go to a cave, that was pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, Lake Cave.
There's 5 or 6 big caves you can visit on tours.
Cave Road.
And we went to one of them called Lake Cave. That was incredible. Yeah,
there's hundreds of caves in that, well, over 100 caves in that area, but there's about 6 or 7 that are open to the public. And we chose Lake Cave, which was pretty amazing. Really well done. 300 plus steps to get down and back again, so it was a good day of walking.
I think that was a cricket that just landed on you, that
was
you
it?
brushed off. I think so. Well, something started making little chirp noises on the grass. Type of cricket. Yeah, constantly beating flies off us and things.
Oh my word, so many flies. So you might see photos if we post them of the beach. It was beautiful, like classic white sand, blue sea, absolutely stunning. But the flies, the minute you stopped moving for about 3 seconds, they were on you, on your face, on your lips, on your nose. Oh, horrible. Wasn't expecting that.
I feel like with Dave and Trace, it's one of those things that they're just used to. They're probably sick of visitors that come and just constantly... You know, when you're used to something in your country, when someone comes to visit, like in Britain, all we talk about is the weather.
Yeah.
So when other people come and just like, oh, it's so cold, isn't it? So wet. Yeah, just get on with it, deal with it, we're used to it. So us here, we're just like, oh, the flies. How do you do anything with the flies? Just deal with it, just accept it. I can't stand still.
Oh,
just 5 flies land on my mouth and my eyes.
And the weird thing was, when we got changed to go in the sea, they got these toilets there, which are kind of like a little bit like old, neglected, outdoor sort of toilets. And in the toilet, which are quite big toilet, big, rooms almost to get changed in as well as a toilet. In that room, there were no flies. It was the only respite I got from the flies. And in England, that would have been the only place the flies were congregating.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that at all.
It blew your mind.
Yeah, it did.
No flies in the toilet.
And then
step out the toilet, you get covered in flies. So, Trace also bought us from her workplace they were clearance. She got 4 mosquito nets that you put over your head if you're wearing hats, and then they drape down. And I thought it was a bit of a joke. I haven't said this to her. I mean, Dave's going to be listening to this. We have to be careful what we say. But yeah, I thought it was a bit of a joke. Just like, ha ha ha, Brits need mosquito. But then genuinely, we've now seen people
wearing them,
walking around the beaches and those hiking, wearing these head
If I
nets.
went back to one of those beaches and we were going to hang around for a while, I would definitely put it on. I'm not a fan of them landing on my face.
Well, I said they're not going to bite you, but they're just irritating. That you just keep bashing them away from your face, and then they land on you again, and they land on your ear, on the arms. I thought I had 1 or 2 on me, and you were walking behind. You said you got like 15 on your back. And I was
they're just all over people's clothes. So that wasn't fun.
So no, we're not a fan of the flies.
These are the things you don't see. You see these beautiful pictures on Instagram. Oh, lovely dragonfly gone past. You see these beautiful pictures on Instagram of all these lovely beaches and people doing stuff. If you feel bad about that, or you feel a bit jealous, or you feel like, just a bit crappy because you don't get to do stuff like that with nice beaches, just remember there's a high chance they're covered in flies. Just doesn't show on the photos.
That's the takeaway. For every stunning image of the Indian Ocean and a white sandy beach, there's a photographer covered in flies.
And I remember when we went to the Maldives, the white sand there, they didn't want you walking on it too much because of the sand flies, because they bite from the sand. So there's a lot of things about these beautiful beaches that they don't tell you, so just think about that.
So we've been south, we had 4 nights away, and now we're back in Mandurah for the weekend, catch up on some washing and some rest, and then we're heading north up the western coast of Australia.
Tuesday.
Our end destination is Exmouth, as they pronounce it, or Exmouth, like we have in England.
Yeah.
And we're heading up the coast past some places called like Coral Bay, Shark Bay.
Monkey
So lots
Mia.
of ocean life and
Shell Beach.
flies, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully seeing dolphins, maybe some rays, stuff like that. But definitely getting hotter. I think it's about 35 up there now. And it's weird because I messaged a friend and I said to her, we're going north but it'll get hotter, and she was like, oh, it's so weird because in England you go south to get hotter, and of course with the other side of the equator, so whereas most people go south where we are to get hotter weather because you're heading towards the equator, here you have to go north towards the equator to get hotter weather, so the further south you are the cooler it is. So it's a weird kind of backwards sort of thing
Mix.
But we're learning. I'm surprised with the language in Australia, how many things have been said that I haven't understood. Just little words they have. Like, Tracy's talked about, I'm going to get the ports down from upstairs. I had no idea what she was talking about, but that was suitcases. She asked me when I first arrived, I wanted to put the jug on. That was the kettle. There's all these little expressions. I'm just like, I'm sorry, I've no idea what you mean. So there's lots of little things, just little words they use. I was like, gosh, no, I didn't know they used this. They have to pay extra for toilets in their house.
Toilet tax?
Yeah. They like can have a toilet, but if you want another one, you've got to pay for it. In England, we have more toilets than people in most houses. So it's,
well,
yeah.
I don't know about that. It's a stretch.
Well, what we're building now for people, if you look at the new buildings, most of them will have an ensuite, a main bathroom, possibly a second ensuite and a downstairs toilet. A lot of houses, the newer ones we build now, have 3 to 4 minimum.
No toilet tax in the UK.
Yeah, the older houses would just have one outdoors. But
I've been surprised. I naively thought that Australia would be cheaper. And I naively thought because you can get about just over $2 Australian to the British pound in currency, I thought we'd be like really rich. But actually, I'm amazed at how much more expensive stuff is here. Everything from fresh fruit and veg, salads, through even local stuff, through to beer, bread. It's a lot more expensive. And we'd said, well, we planned for months that as part of this time we'd look to spend a week in Tasmania, but we quite quickly wrote that plan off when looking at the prices of the flights. That again, I naively thought there'd be a few £100 to get to Tasmania each return, almost like an internal flight, but didn't realise it would be nearer like £1,000 for the travel. So we knocked that one on the head and said we'd spend a bit more time in Western Australia exploring. Fuel's definitely cheaper, so diesel I think here is cheaper than we're used to paying for diesel at home. It's about £1.40, £1.30, about £1.30 at home a litre, and here it's about 80p a litre. That's in British, obviously, currency. But I'm surprised by how much more expensive. Like I bought 6 Royal Gala apples from the supermarket, and I think they cost about £4. £4 British pounds, about $8 Australian. Like at home, that'd be about £1.50, about $3 Australian. So some things are double the price, a lot more expensive. So that surprised me. Okay, just break for an interlude. We now have a kookaburra above us, almost directly overhead, about 20 feet up in the tree. So we've now got a different view of a kookaburra, which is quite pleasant.
So cute.
Do your laughing thing.
Yeah, we're trying to get him to laugh.
Make your noise.
There'll be a few people out there listening that will have also started singing Kookaburra Sits in the Old Gum Tree, because that keeps going through my head every 2-3 days.
You'd have to work to stop singing that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Kangaroos are a lot more common.
That's what I was going to say. Yes, I think on one of the last episodes, I don't know if I said it, but I had the impression that kangaroos weren't this side of Australia so much. I thought they were the other side. That was so wrong. They are everywhere. even in like the little fields in between housing estates, we've seen a whole herd of kangaroos, and they've got joeys with them in the pouches.
Are they herds? Do they flock? Herd?
Yeah, apparently they are herds. I don't know if that's the official name, but it's a herd. And maybe there's a bounce of kangaroos or something. But we've seen them as you're driving along in the car. In fact, they were the first thing we saw from the airport to our house where we're staying. We saw them in a field, just hanging out. So yeah, kangaroos everywhere. And we saw an emu. We've seen a field of emus with 6 or 7 in, and we saw one running down the road ahead of us.
All in the wild. That was the most bizarre scene.
That was so funny.
As we were driving down this long straight road heading out to the coast, there was this mirage up ahead of this lumbering sort of mess. And we were like, what's that ahead? Not thinking, is it someone on a horse? Is it someone cycling? And then realising it's just the whole sort of shape of it and the way it was flopping around was a bit weird. And as we then got closer to it, realised it was an emu running up the road being mobbed by other birds. It was a bit cruel. But then we got quite close to it and got photos. But it's the strangest sight.
It's funny.
To see this giant bird lumbering up the road. And then, as you mentioned, the day before yesterday on the way back from Margaret River, we drove on the highway, on the freeway, past a field, and there was 6 of them. All in this field. It's just, again, it's like, what?
Yeah.
In the wild?
How is that in the wild? It's so weird. One thing we have realised is that, so a lot of people, I think with Australia, especially in England, you have this impression of all the bad, dangerous stuff being in Australia. The spiders, the snakes. There's signs everywhere here on the floor, like, snakes live here. We've not seen a single snake anywhere.
And we've been looking.
Yeah, and what's that? Something singing above us. Kookaburras still sat there happily. We haven't seen any snakes. There are signs, and they are around, but I think they're quite rare by the sounds of it to see one. But everything that you fear in England, in Australia, seems to be in Queensland.
Yep.
Every time we look something up, because we hear about something new that's nasty, whether it's a shark or a jellyfish or a snake or a spider, a scorpion, whatever it is, you look it up, it's in Queensland. So if you want to avoid all the bad stuff in Australia, don't visit Queensland.
Yeah, I concur. That does seem to be the place where all the bad stuff happens in Australia.
There's not a lot here that's really... They have got redback spiders which can bite you, but they're not, like, fatal or anything.
They could be to a baby.
Oh, kookaburras just landed on the grass again.
Good eyesight. Straight down, grabs the worm, and then
really
back up
good.
into the tree.
So pretty. Got this lovely blue tint to their wings as well.
Kingfisher-esque. Are they part of the kingfisher family?
And they should be. They look like the sort of fluffy, bigger cousin.
Yeah, lovely.
Very sweet.
So yeah, that's probably the points of Australia: wildlife, food,
temperatures,
shopping.
much drier temperatures. Even when it is hot, very bearable, and their houses are built for it. So that's the other thing that's interesting out here. Almost all the houses are like what we would call bungalows, like 1 story. Maybe they've got a room upstairs, but all very low, wide, kind of really weird compared to England, where we just build upwards 2-3 stories all the time. So that's interesting to see.
In terms of how we're doing, what kind of update can we give on us? Because I think we'll be honest, this hasn't been we've not realised the dream as yet.
No.
That we had bold, unrealistic, now we realise expectations of what this time would be. Oh, there's another kookaburra just flown behind us. We're surrounded by kookaburras.
It's a sign.
And that was me thinking they were a rarity.
I don't know what it's a sign of, but...
No, lunchtime probably. But yeah, I mean, we expected that we would use this time. I think we spoke about it in the last episode that we did about how we love to go deep into our marriage stuff and spend time when we go on holiday focusing on our marriage and focusing on each other. And we've not had any opportunity really to do that. It's been quite the opposite, really. If anything, I think you'd sort of joke that we'd just become friends rather than lovers while we've been here. So that's a bit difficult to navigate. Partly because of our own choosing. I think having chosen to accept Dave's very generous offer of using their place, so living with them, and it's their holiday as well. So Dave's on holiday and time off work. So we've not had the time to drill into some of the stuff we wanted to focus on childlessness. We've not done anything really around that, and as well as that, you've been unwell literally since we got to Australia. You've not had a healthy day yet in Australia, which has been really frustrating.
Sweet.
Little bird song.
That's been probably my biggest frustration. I landed and within about 24 hours had a quite swollen feeling throat, when your glands are up. And I was like, oh no, I'm fighting something. You had the same thing. The same morning you woke up feeling the same.
Yes.
And within about 24, 48 hours you were fine.
I'm still snotty.
Mine lasted for about a week. And then I was starting to feel better. I had a day when I felt better. And then last Sunday we went to a church in Australia to check that out, see what that was like. And by that evening I felt bad again, but with a different symptom, like a sore throat inside and getting a bit snotty. And since then I just have not been able to shift this cold. Just can't breathe properly through my nose without, thank goodness I packed a Vicks nose spray. And yeah, we found a nasal rinse that I can do to try and help with that, and I was on paracetamol for a long time. I'm off that now, but yeah, I just can't shift it. So it's been 2 weeks of trying to enjoy stuff, but at the same time just battling through symptoms and low energy, which is not welcome.
It is ridiculous. We said this morning, didn't we, after all the build-up, certainly with your hormone stuff and the last 12 months of preparing for this, hormones and HRT, and really hoping and praying that we get to this place. It's unbelievable to think that we've now been in Australia for 2.5 weeks and the hormones have actually been eclipsed by feelings of cold and congestion. Yeah. And the hormones have been all right, and yet you've not actually been able to appreciate them being better because you've felt congested and not sleeping well.
Well, I'm not sleeping too badly, but it's just that, when you wake up and your mouth's really dry and your nose stops you breathing, it's that kind of stuff which gets in the way. It's I'm doing everything, I'm trying to get a bit of sunshine, I'm having Vegemite, that's got B vitamins in it apparently. Oranges for a bit of vitamin C. Doing all the right stuff, so I don't understand really why I can't seem to shift it. I'm really hoping I shift it before we head up on our north trip on Tuesday.
That's the plan. We were going to go out today, but decided not to try and have another opportunity for you just to chill out and try and let your body rest and fight this thing. Yeah, before we begin another trip, which is going to be hot. It's going to be more uncomfortable physically because of the heat where we're going, that you really don't want to be taking a cold away with you.
I think the problem is, even when you relax, you're not at home, are you? So I don't know how much your body ever fully relaxes when you've got like a... What are you looking at?
Kookaburra.
You're so distracted. It's a deep, meaningful conversation. You're just staring around into space.
Well, there's kookaburras around.
Well, focus. You've seen 2 kookaburras already. So yeah, it's been difficult.
So we continue to try and work out and manage our expectations, which is constantly evolving. Because you start a trip like this, obviously with the whole trip planned out ahead of you, and then you continue to manage expectations as time marches on. That's probably more like the podcast meat, isn't it? For how do you, when you're journeying, to use that word, through something, continually reassess and change your expectations in order to try and live comfortably and try and reach contentment, because we've, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've not been content with our lot, have we? So the more we manage our expectations of what we want to get out of this time, the more content we might feel.
Yeah. You
look like you disagree.
Not necessarily. I think there's a lot to be... I don't want it to sound like we're just, ungrateful and we're here on this amazing holiday and we're just like... don't feel good about our lot, because it's an amazing opportunity to have. But I think, it's easy to put a lot of very high expectations on such an opportunity and think, we'll be able to do this and this, and sometimes that's just not possible. Plus the fact when we got here, I think, like we said, we're kind of switching off. And when you switch off, like properly for a good amount of time, it's the last sort of place that you'd have a deep conversation. It just doesn't really happen, does it? So I think it's it's difficult to be able to do all that stuff, and we didn't know what it was going to look like. We didn't know if we were going to get here and be on really good form and love it, or if we were going to suddenly switch off and not be able to do much. So I don't know.
Good job we planned to keep things quite sedate then, in a sense, while we were here. We didn't put many trips in, did we? No,
we set the expectation low of just hanging out in Perth, if that was the thing that we were going to do as the baseline, which would be something amazing. As it goes, we've planned quite a lot in. We did plan out our first plan. We put loads of stuff in, and then we sat and looked at it, and the next morning we woke up and this is a massive mistake. We need some space to just be able to do other things and enjoy being here. We can't just keep going from one thing to the next all day, every day. So we did change it. for Margaret River. We stayed in one place and went there rather than moving around every day. The next one is different. We are moving around every day for about 10 days, so that's going to be busy. But after that, we've then got about 2 weeks of just downtime here locally to do local stuff. There's a lot of stuff we want to do around here that we haven't done, like Rottnest Island and Penguin Island, and the Peel Estuary's got dolphin cruises, and so there's a lot of stuff locally that we might do. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's been different from what we expected, and I think when you think this might be like a once in a lifetime type thing, for the length of time that we're off, for the amount of time that we're here, yeah, it's easy to put very high expectations on what you want out of it. And what do we want out of it? We wanted to see stuff, we wanted to have fun, we wanted to enjoy it, we wanted to have good conversations, we wanted to reassess life, we wanted everything really, didn't we? And I think we're realising that might have been a bit ambitious.
Yeah, that's true. Wanted everything emotionally more than physically, more than just like the excitement of a big trip. I think we want just to be in an absolutely good place to reset, and that's not what we've done as yet. Maybe that will come in the weeks ahead. Let's say we've got 4 more weeks in Australia, so that's loads of time. I find what I do find hard, and I'm wrestling with myself, just to come back to some point you made, is that whole concept of looking on the bright side. I don't know how to get that balance right, whether it's just internally or externally with other people. You know, I'm a grateful person, and there's so much that I'm thankful for, but also you need to talk about this stuff, I feel, and be realistic about this stuff. But whether it's between the two of you or with friends as well, if you want to be able to process this stuff with company, it does feel like you could be easily accused, whether you're accusing yourself or someone might be thinking about it, that you're just ungrateful.
Yeah.
Or you need to look on the bright side. You've got a glass half empty rather than a glass half full mentality. So I find that hard. You mentioned that, just a few minutes ago. But knowing how to talk about this stuff, how do we talk about this stuff together and work this stuff out and help each other with our expectations without both of us thinking that the other one's just being a bit negative?
Yeah.
How do we do that? Oh, someone's distracted by kookaburras, are they?
I was about to come back and look at you and say, are you distracted? 2 kookaburras just now landed nearby.
You paused for the kookaburras.
I was waiting for you to say something. No, I think that is difficult, and I do think being grateful is important.
Okay.
It's so distracting because now there's a kookaburra right above our head.
It's literally 10 feet away from our heads. If it pooed, it would hit me.
This is a good example. I think this is a good example. So, we've got some stuff going on. I'm not feeling brilliant right now, which is a shame and disappointing. But I am really appreciative of the kookaburra being sat 9 feet above our head. So I think that's what, for me, that's what it is about, finding things to be grateful for. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm not going to write that experience off because I feel crappy with a cold. So I think that's the thing. But you're right, it is very easily turned into look on the bright side, and I do think if people are struggling in any situation, it's never massively helpful to tell them that unless they are people who do need to hear it because they're never grateful. If anyone knows us, I think they know that we will be grateful for experiences, we will be enjoying the wildlife. It's not something that is just nothing to us.
And it reminds me of several podcast episodes that we've done in the past where people have spoken about, our guests have spoken about holding the tension or sitting in the tension of the two, the good and the bad, the grief and the joy, that it's, you don't have to have one or the other at any one time. You can hold the two in tension. So I'm minded to think of that it is okay to be glass half full and glass half empty at the same time.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm working on that myself. I say I'm not at peace with my own self on this trip as yet. I'm trying to find that.
I also think it's because, I think getting away from me on holidays brings up things. It makes you think about life, and then normally we would talk about that and process it before we go back again. I think that we'll be having things coming up on this holiday already, but we haven't had time to talk or process them, so we're just sitting with it. And that's not very comfortable. Things like not feeling well. I've had that so often on so many holidays. That's a massive disappointment for me. I feel like I'm going to have to process that it's happening once again. Things like childlessness. We've been around in different touristy places and stuff. We've seen people teaching their kids to surf and, doing all these family things together. And, that makes me think about what I'm missing out on and what I haven't got. And I haven't had time to stop and process, think, how do I think about that? There's stuff going on, around us. Tracy's just about to retire from her job. That makes me think, I don't feel like I've even started in a job that I could retire from, and that gets you, thinking about where you are in life and what's happening. And there's a lot of stuff coming up because we've walked away from the routine, and if we don't at some point sort of process that before we go back, then I think that could be quite damaging, because normally we would process it and go back having talked about it and feeling better about things. So yeah, I think that's another side of it. We're just having to sit with that for a while until we get the space and time to talk properly and really think about stuff. And that's probably just a bit uncomfortable, but not necessarily a bad thing. Just have to make sure it doesn't ruin the other good things that we're experiencing along the way, like the kookaburras, which have all gone now.
Yeah. When there's one in that over there, I can just see it. You can't. I can make it out. I've been following it, tracking it. What a joy. Yeah, but that was unexpected, wasn't it? That we'd be taking things back to, or thinking that we're taking stuff back to the UK to process.
Well, I'm not planning to take it back. We've still got time. That's what I'm saying. We're having to sit with it now because we haven't done it yet. This is what happens when you're distracted by a kookaburra.
That's not what happens when I'm distracted by a kookaburra. But I understand that, and I think I'll join you in that. We're living with people, and so we're spending a lot of time around each other. So it's not like the two of us are just able to, I guess, get bored together and then start talking about stuff.
It doesn't naturally come like it would if you were just doing a holiday with two of you.
Yeah, definitely. If there's the two of us in a hotel room, then there's a lot more space there to talk about all things. So yeah,
hopefully that's interesting and not too depressing for people.
Well, it's us, isn't it? It's probably us.
If you listen to this podcast, you're used to big topics that can be a bit down and sad, but also with hope. And there is always hope, and I'm definitely hopeful. It's not the end of our holiday yet. I'm hopeful to have time and space to do that stuff as well as all the other cool stuff. Yeah, looking forward to what's ahead, just hoping I can shift this cold in time to enjoy it fully. But I don't know when because we're now going away for about 10 days on this next trip, there won't be opportunity necessarily to record stuff and post it. But maybe when we're back, we'll see what we're doing then and if we can update on anything else. If we can, we will. If not, it will be our first episode when we get back. We'll do our chatty Christmas catch-up. That's the other weird thing. People are messaging us like, Britain's starting to get ready for Christmas coming and it's getting darker and we're just here in the sunshine with no evidence of Christmas anywhere. So very strange that we will just roll straight back into Christmas. Have to get all our stuff out and get the lights up and find a tree and everything. Start planning Christmas, which will be like literally 2 to 3 weeks away when we get back. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Having something to focus on like that straight away will be quite cool. And I think we've really made Christmas into something better for us over the years, something we can look forward to. So that's good. But that'll be, if we don't do anything before, that'll be the next episode. But maybe we'll do something when we get back from our trip, see how we're doing, update people.
Yeah.
And hopefully I will be a lot clearer in my voice and not quite so nasal.
Well, I'm surprised it's taken us this long to do this one. I think this is sort of 4 weeks in.
Yeah, we definitely thought we would be able to do something quicker.
I thought, again, naively, that we'd be like maybe doing like weekly short updates on stuff. But again, it's just not been something we've been able to think about doing.
No, but we do feel the loyalty to our listeners and wanted to update you with something. And thank you to anyone that's messaged or asked how we're getting on. It's much appreciated. And I will post some things on social media. I'll probably post some of the kookaburra and bobtail stuff I've just recorded, so you can see what I'm talking about. So have a look at that on our social media. And yeah, apart from that, I think that's everything from Australia for now. Thank you for tuning in. Good day.
We should have started that way.
We should have started with it, yeah. Anyway.
So more to come. Find us on social media at The Silent Y Pod.
Yep.
On Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn,
Twitter,
X,
Threads.
There we go.
There's the list.
And we'll be in touch.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.